Hello everyone. Good morning. It's very nice to have a lecture with my morning coffee. So I feel very happy today. Today my coffee is very nice. So I wonder whether you've already had a nice breakfast or not. But just the one coffee is okay for me. So we are quite behind the schedule I've given you on the lecture schedule. But we can keep up. We When we met, I will skip some of the unnecessary part, and I try to speed up. But this kind of lecture, it's a real time lecture, but I can only see a monitor. So I this is my new experience. Maybe this is the future of university, where students do not have to come. They just hear the voice of the professor from their mobile phone, or hearing the talk with their headset. Anywhere, wherever they were. It might be the future, but not yet for me. I'm the older people, getting older, so I prefer older style to meet together, to communicate together, to have a feeling together. It might be better. It's a bit strange for me. So anyway, we should carry on. So I think this Monday I was talking about I think what was it? Talking about the birth of the Buddha. So everyone understand how the Buddha was born according to the southern Buddhist tradition, and the difference between the two traditions, and why the mother of the Buddha, the Queen Maya, not delivering baby at home, but delivering baby on the way to go from Kapilavastu to Ramagama, the capital of Kolya clan. So in the middle between the Shakya and Kolya, there was a pleasure globe called the Lumbini. So there the Buddha was born. There the Buddha was born. So next one. So the next one, as you can see here, the baby Buddha was born. So according to the Indian tradition, especially for the royalty, when the newborn son appear, they usually bring soothsayers. Soothsayers, I mean fortune tellers. So fortune tellers in ancient days are usually Brahmins. So Indian Brahmins usually have shown cover one shoulder, the other shoulder open, just like a Buddhist monk when they had a kasa. They have just one shoulder cover, the other shoulder open, something like that. So those are the Brahmins. So the king bring them to have a fortune telling for the newborn baby. And this oldest one was called Ati. What was it? Is it Atisha, or what was it? The oldest one, a very famous fortune teller, when he saw the Buddha, he was suddenly crying because the newborn baby has got 32 special mark on his body. For example, he has got white dot in the middle between the two eyes, and he has got very long ear, and he has got usnisha. Usnisha is a bit complicated. Maybe his bone was going up like a crown. So many people talking about this as a crown, but baby Buddha has got a crown, and his feet, in the middle of his feet, there was a spike mark, chakra. So which actually show, according to to the Ashita, the one of the great Brahmin during the time of the Buddha, was suddenly crying, and the king asked him, "Why you cry?" And he said, any baby who has got this kind of special marks on his body can have two fate. Either he become universal monarch and conquer all around the India and building great kingdom, or he become great religious leader and showing the way ordinary people should follow. And Ashita said, "I'm too old to wait to see this baby become, grow and become either universal monarch or religious leader. That is why I'm crying." So this is a good sign. But the father of the Buddha was called Suttodana, the rice king in the northeastern India. And the Suttodana worried about this prediction because, according to the Indian tradition, son should follow a father's job. And then they have another baby. The baby follow father's job. That's the kind of a caste system. So once their father was king, forever king. Carry on. Once their father was a merchant, forever they are merchant. When I went to southern India, it's a Tanjir, a very nice old town in the southern part of the city. I went to one of the small shop selling bronze a statue of God Shiva. So when I talk with him and he has got fluent knowledge of how to make a perfect statue of God Shiva. So I asked him, how do you get this profession? How do you start to have this job? And he said to me, my father was making, Shiva a statue. And how about your father? And my father's father, and my father's father. So I asked him, how long your family, building this kind of Shiva statue? And he said to me, maybe starting from from the time of the Jesus, before or after the Common Era, they have some kind of long history. I'm not sure whether it is true or not, but as far as he can remember, his lineage all belongs to the caste where they make Shiva statue. So the king here naturally want his son to become great monarch, but according to this Ashita, he can have another possibility. He can be, what was it? He can be religious leader, and the religious leader means you remember Jainism, Buddhism, and Ajivika, one who become in the way to the religion, they will abandon their family. They will become wandering ascetic. So the king do not want that. He want his son to follow the footstep of his father. That's very clear. So the king actually contained his son into the palace, where he removed all things which may lead his son to the religious way. There is a tension between the king and the son, and the Buddha's early home, according to the Buddhism, according to the Buddhist history, according to the Buddhist history, what's called the Kapila Vastu, and the Kapila Vastu, this is India, and this is the southern part of Nepal in the central area, and this area was Lumbini. So near the Lumbini, now they have a Kapilavastu, the city of Kapilavastu. But actually, this one is called the Tiluhawa. They changed their name to Kapilavastu in Newa, government. But we assume this T Laura code. T means three. Laura means how can I say hill or pillar, and kot means hill as well. Three hill mountain or three pillar mountain, something like that. So this might be we believe the place where the Buddha was born, which means this might be the Kapila Vastu. So this May, no, this April, I've been there. No, this February I've been there. It's a very nice place. And nowadays, Durham University in England, together with the UNESCO, and Newa government, they actually try to excavate some of the important place, as well as some of the artifact that they try to retrieve. And here you can see in the middle part of the area there was a brick structure, and we believe that area might be the place of the palace of the Buddha, we believe. There is Shiva temple as well. If you go to, this Lumbini, no, Kapilavastu, it's a bit mixed. Already 4th century and 5th century, when Chinese pilgrim visit Kapilavastu, it's already deserted. It's all rediscovered 1890 or 1900 by British colonial archaeologists. So that's the Lumbini. So the king actually tried to contain his son into the palace, never let him going out. And then one day, he feel like his son should go out. And the place where his son go out was a plowing festival. So last week was Songkran in Thailand. Songkran means the first day of the year. So according to the Western calendar, we have January the 1st. But according to the ancient Indian and Southeast Asian tradition, the first day of the new year usually is around the March or around April. So the first day of the year, they usually do a plowing. So while they are doing plowing, they unearthed the soil in order to make it better to have a planting life and so on. So in India and Southeast Asia, once they plant, they have a 3-time harvest. So this is a good festival, and everyone enjoy this kind of a plowing festival. So for the first time, the king thought this is a good place for my son to see the people enjoying the festival. So the king bring his son, and they all enjoy together. But suddenly, the newborn baby, who was called the Siddhartha, every wish fulfilled, meaning he was just sitting under the jambu tree and meditate. Is it good sign for his father or bad sign for his father? It's a bad sign for his father. Meditation for religious direction, enjoying festival, monarchy or royal direction. The king actually become very, very disappointed because this son neither enjoy festival nor, answering the call of his father, and he suddenly enter into the meditation. And for the whole day, according to the life story of the Buddha, he just meditate. And we have many series about why the Buddha meditate. And according to the Southern Buddhist tradition, they said, when this plow going through the earth, and the soil become unearthed. When unearthed, there are insects. When there are insects suddenly appear, the bird coming down and eat it. So while the young Siddhartha are watching, farmer doing plowing, cow, leading the plow, and then they are not intended for the living creature suddenly appear insect, and then the bird actually eat. So without having direct cause and result, everything interrelated. And then, living creatures suffer because of one's action. So, according to the Southern Buddhist tradition, at this very moment, Buddha realized the causality. There are causes and conditions, and it's a multiple, mutual causation, not just the direct cause and condition, something like that. It's a mutual cause and condition. According to Buddhism, that was called the pratitya samutpada, dependent origination. Things occur in the world depends on various kind of causes and conditions. That's the dependent origination the Buddha actually realized at this very moment. And that is why he entered into the first meditation. And another theory from Mahayana Buddhism, they actually said the Buddha watching plow going through the earth, and then insect, just coming out, and then bird coming down and eat it. And then while he was watching there, he had a compassion. In Buddhism, we have a very important two words, metta and karuna. Metta and karuna. Ja, pi in Korean. And metta means one become happy when other one become happy when other people become happy. That's the metta. That's the metta. 보통 in English we translate as a loving kindness. Loving kindness. That's the metta. In Chinese character, ja. And karuna, compassion. So compassion means one become sad when other people sad. So suddenly at this very moment, while Buddha watching insect suffering because of the this plowing, nothing related to in between the two, the living creatures suffer. So when he saw a living creature suffer, he also become very sad. And then his mind filled with the compassion. When his mind filled with the compassion, spontaneously he's entering into the meditation. So according to the Mahayana Buddhist meditation, they use compassion as a means through which they can enter into the deep meditation. Southern Buddhism, they use pratitya samutpada, cause and condition as a means through which they enter into the meditation. So they have a different interpretation on that. So this is a very important experience for the Buddha, because when he try various methods, he couldn't achieve it before he become enlightened. He remember, when I was very young, I was with a flying festival with my father, and then I spontaneously entered into the meditation. And that meditative experience was very good, because while Buddha meditating, you can see here, Buddha slightly smiling. Buddhist meditation is not ascetic meditation. This is mild meditation, make us very happy, something like that. So that's the moment Buddha had a taste of a meditative experience, according to the story. So when the king coming back from that plowing festival, the king worried about, because his son might well going into the religious direction. So what he should do? What do you think about this? Nice painting. What he should do is make his son get married. So now the king had a second wife, the daughter, no, sister of Queen Maya. Queen Maya passed away 1 week after delivering baby, the Siddhartha. So the younger sister of Queen Maya become the queen, Mahapajapati Gotami, and she bring another good lady from Kolya clan, and they get married. And the name of Buddha's wife, anybody knows? Yasodhara. Yasodhara was the name. So anybody went to Angkor Wat? Angkor Wat. Anybody went to Angkor Wat? In ancient name of Angkor Wat, Yasodhara Pura. Pura. Just once around 1120 or 30 in Khmer Kingdom in Cambodia, there was a Buddhist king, Jayavarman VII, and he built his city Angkor Thom according to the Buddhist idea. And then when he completed Angkor Thom, he put the name Yasodhara Pura, which means this is the place where the Buddha will be reappear, because Yasodhara is the queen, the wife of the Buddha. So there's kind of a quite Buddhist name, in Angkor Wat in ancient days. So the king make him get married, and then the king become very satisfied because his son become faithful husband, and he enjoy archery. He enjoys practicing sword and so on. So the king become happy. But when the king asked his son to get married, he said to his son that I have one condition to get married. And the king asked him what, and he said to his king that if you allow me to go out of the palace for 4 times, if you allow me 4 journeys out of the palace, I will get married. So the king thought, once you get married, you can't return. So the king said, okay. So after the marriage, where is it? After the marriage, the king allowed him to going out of the palace for 4 times. So here we have 3 times king, the Siddhartha going out of the palace with the Channa, his charioteer. And he go out. He saw 4 aspects of human life. And the first time he go out with the Channa, he saw old man. Because the king worried about his son going to the religious direction, there was no old man in the palace. So for the first time, Siddhartha, the prince, saw the old man. So prince asked the Channa, who was it? Why is he walking like that? And the Channa said to the prince that he is an old man. So prince asked him, why is he old? And Channa said to the prince that everyone become old. So prince has got shocked because all he saw until this time something very good. But for the first time, he encountered something dark side of a human creature. And second time he goes out, he saw a sick man. So the Buddha never saw sick man in the palace, and he asked the Channa, why is he look very strange? And the Channa said to the prince that he's sick. He got the illness. And the Buddha, the Siddhartha asked him, why people become sick? And Channa said, everyone becomes sick, once or twice in their life. And then Buddha had another shock. And the third time he goes out, he saw dead people. So the Buddha asked him, why is he dead? And Channa said, everyone dead. Even you, maybe you get old, you become old, you become sick, and finally you will die. Someone like that. And that's a shock. It's a good shock. It's quite shock for him. And Channa even said, during this time, already people talk about rebirth. This is not just the time you are dead. You will reborn again and again. And you will die again and again. Channa actually said. So this three journey give the Buddha profound experience on how to deal with, what was it? How to deal with the death. The death is the kind of area we cannot explain with a reasonable mind, because nobody coming back from the death. Are there anyone you can actually met? I was dead, but I coming back. Maybe this is a religious area. So Jesus, recover from the death. Or the many legendary story. Monk. When he died and coming back again, something like that. So, but there is no proof. This is not the area of science, not the area of regional thinking. This is area of religion, I have to say. So the last time we do not have a last time, but we have a nice Korean version here. I think this one. This is a Hunguksa temple, four journey of the Buddha out of the palace. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 scenes. So if I may, I can show you the first one here. Here all the Korean custom. First time Buddha going out, he saw all the people. You can see here all the people. Second time he go out, he Buddha, the Siddhartha, saw sick people. Third time the Buddha going out, he saw, what was it? This is a koppen. Koppen in ancient Korean style koppen. So he saw dead people. And last time he go out, he saw wandering ascetics. So that experience give him, this is it, all I've been living in the palace so far. I feel like I was living in the fantasy world, not the real world. And for the first time, Siddhartha realized the how can I say, existential reality of human beings. We are destined to become pathway. We can't escape. We are the one who is existing temporarily, not permanently. Everyone wants to live, forever. And everyone, do not have any sickness. Everyone do not become getting older and so on. But so far during the life of Siddhartha, he never encountered that sort of thing. And for the first time he saw, and then he actually met someone who tried to find the answer for all those problems. So that make a profound impact on the mind of the Buddha, and he decided, worldly life is not important for me. I should seek for the truth of the universe. I should try to find the answer of the problem of the death and how we overcome. So that's the story of the four journeys. That's the story of the That's the story of the four journeys according to the Buddhism. Where is it? Buddhism. But we have a problem here. We have a problem because uh, I think when Buddha was going out to outside of the palace, I think he was around 16 or 17. And young man of good family has got proper education, already knew, people become older, people can get sick, or people eventually die. So I think this is a story made up to explain, existential realization of human beings. Because we all knew, according to our head, according to the knowledge we can get from the book, we all know, human beings, temporary existence. Human being will eventually die. We all knew according from our head, but this story actually give us a kind of a profound impact, through which we realize that one who is dying is not other people. One who is not dying is me, So the Buddha, he knew according through his head, he knew everyone died. But with this experience, he realized one who is dying is me, So that's the existential realization of the Buddha. He 실존의 자각 in Korea. He actually realized I'm not the one who will live forever. I'm the one who will die soon. So I feel like I'm hurry to find the answer and how to overcome this kind of suffering, this kind of death, and this kind of rebirth again and death again, and so on. He feel like, I can't endure. I should find some kind of a way to overcome. That's the very important moment of the Buddha. And then one day, his wife delivering baby. As you can see here, newborn baby. The Buddha's baby, the name is Rahula. If you go to India or Sri Lanka, there are many people who got the name Rahula. But Rahula is not the good name. Rahula means binding. So what is binded by the baby? The father. Because the father should take care of a family. When they have children, he has got endless responsibility to grow up their newborn baby. So I feel like this is my idea. I feel like I am like a grown-up bamboo tree. I like this simile appear in Sutta Nipata, where a grown-up householder in society is like the life of a man in the family is like a grown-up bamboo tree. The Buddha actually said in the Sutta Nipata. Where is it? This is bamboo, 대나무, and when the bamboo getting bigger, as you can see, there are many branches. Each branch is intermingled each other. So my house was in Busan, where we have many typhoon coming from the southern sea, and the pine tree and all the fruit tree, they all destroyed by very strong wind. But bamboo is very flexible. If a bamboo was alone, but they were getting together, they become very strong, and never moved, even with the typhoon, gush wind is okay. So life, like me, it's intermingled each other. I have many responsibilities for taking care of children, taking care of a baby, taking care of a wife, and so on. So this is an endless task we should do. So as far as we are attached to the family life, we cannot get the ultimate knowledge. Just like when I was a high school student, I like playing game with my computer during that time. 삼국지, Three Kingdom story, very old days. I actually enjoy. But when I have to have a midterm exam or end term exam in high school, I stop playing game and study so that I can get the reasonable score. So once if you want to have a good score, you have to uh, uh, have your gaming enjoyment behind. It's just like a barter system. So Indian people, if you want to taking care of your family, that's okay. Ultimate knowledge or how to live a life, give it to the Brahmins, give it to the Buddhist monk. But if you wants to achieve ultimate reality, knowledge, or if you wants to become a religious people, you should abandon your family. That's very important in Indian society. So one day, the Buddha was wake up very early, and he saw his wife and children, and then all the female attendant. So when he was with them during the night, they were very beautiful. But when he was wake up early in the morning, some ladies snoring, they have hair not really beautiful, and everything. So the Buddha realized that what he was saw during the night was not the reality of the ladies. The beauty in the world, uh, as we can see during the night, was not the endless one. It is changing. It is changing. So in the society, everything permanently changing. For example, I have a white hair coming from my side of the head suddenly. So during the days when I was in the university, I have a total black hair. So black hair belongs to me. I usually said I'm a black haired man, and I'm very young. A black hair is mine. But now I realize that black hair doesn't belongs to me. Step by step they disappear, and my head color of my head changing to the white. So at this very moment, the Buddha realized nothing lasts forever in the world. Everything changes. Human life changes. Born and die again and again. People change their pace. Everything changing again and again. So this is called the anicca. Nothing lasts forever. Everything changing endlessly. That's the second realization of the Buddha into the religious direction. So he asked his charioteer, Channa, bring the horse. And then when Channa bring the horse, where is it? The Buddha going pose. So this is the going pose of the Buddha. And he's actually flying high, flying high. So in Chinese, it was called the Yusong Chulga because it is flying high through the eastern gate of the Kapila Vastu. Eastern gate. I just show you eastern gate. The Buddha going through the eastern gate to the this one. I think this one. I think this one. So this is the eastern gate of Kapila Vastu. As you can see here, in the front, eastern gate. So the Buddha wake up early in the morning through this eastern gate, flying high over the gate, going outside of the Kapilavastu, and he went into the religious direction. So, as you can see, behind the wall, there was a very, very big rice field. And then he reached the, river Aroma, where he cut his head and he changed his clothes and so on. So, mm. So according to the excavation, that's the east gate, and the reason why Buddha was flying high is very interesting, because the king, as you remember, didn't want his son going into the religious direction, and his son developed further and further into the religious way. So he actually bring his soldiers guarding the palace of his prince. So the Buddha was like a prisoner in his palace, and once he decided he would like to, become a religious direction, as you can see here, Buddha said bye bye, bye bye to his wife and his son, and he did this, but the soldiers are guarding his palace. So this one guard Indra bring the mist. When the mist appear, everyone get asleep. So every people and soldier all get asleep in the Kapilavastu, except the Buddha and his charioteer Channa. And then Channa bring the horse. But horse, when moving through the earth, it make a sound, dark, something like that. So in order not to make anyone in the Kapilavastu waking up, four guardian kings, Sacheonwang, in East Asian tradition appear. They hold the feet of the horse, and they are flying high, so that there was no sound of horse, and then safely the Buddha did, how can I say, going forth, escape from his hometown. So this one as well, the Buddha said bye-bye to his female attendants and wife, and flying high through the eastern gate. The Buddha did Buddha moved to the ascetic direction. So when he go out from the palace, he cut his hair. This is called the cutting hair of the Buddha. Cutting his hair, because monks, they all shaven. I'm not sure when the Buddhist tradition shave their head, because Buddha had around 3 or 4 centimeters of hair, and then in order not to make it too long, it become like like a shell. It becomes something like that. Anyway, because there is no story about shaving his head. It just said munda. Munda means a person who has got no hair. There are some expression about munda, but anyway, when he reached the river Aroma, his charioteer waiting. The Buddha actually, bringing all his hair, just cut his sword. And then Buddha just threw away all his hair into the air. And then he said, I'm going to become a wandering ascetic. If I can achieve the ultimate reality, and if I can overcome my death, my hair never reached the ground. So naturally, the Buddha just threw away his hair. The hair naturally going down to the earth. So when his hair going down to the earth, Buddha thought, oh, I cannot achieve ultimate reality. So he might give up. He might give up. So worried about that, God Indra coming down from the heaven, and he bringing all the hair from the Buddha, and then he going up to the heaven. So this is the first going up of the Buddha's part of the body to the heavenly world. We usually talking about that. So this is very important moment. So this Korean version as well, we have cutting hair. So this is the Buddha. He reached the river aroma, and he changed his clothes. And this one, the Buddha cut his hair, and the god Indra appear, bring all the hair. The Buddha just cut. God Indra going up to the heaven. So the Buddha look like General Lee Sun-shin, almost like a Korean people. Anyway, the similar one you can see in many different tradition. So what I like most was this cutting hair from Borobudur in Java, Indonesia. The Buddha cutting his hair, and the god Indra coming down and bringing all the hair of the Buddha here. And what was happening after that was very interesting. I think I should talk about this. If you go to Southeast Asia, the temple wall was decorated with the life story of the Buddha. So this is one of the example where they painted life story of the Buddha in sequence. So I can show you the sequence. God Indra approaching the Buddha in the 33 heaven, asking him, this is time you should going down to the human world. So, Queen Maya moving from Shakya clan to Kolya clan. And this one, baby was born, Queen Maya holding the tree. Where is the baby? We cannot see. Somewhere here, the baby was born. And this one, Ashita give a fortune telling of the newborn baby. And then the Buddha become very energetic, did some archery. But this one, plowing festival, where the Buddha not sitting, he just lying down and meditate, And then over here, 4 journeys of the Buddha, and he saw old man, sick man. Where is the dead man? This is dead man, and he saw wandering ascetic. And here, the Buddha said bye-bye to his wife and all the female attendant, and his charioteer Channa waiting with a horse. So Buddha came back with the horse. They are flying high, through the eastern gate and escape from the ordinary life. And then here, Buddha cutting hair. So the god Indra coming down to collect all the hair of the Buddha, and god Indra going up to the 33 heaven. And you can see here, god Indra built Buddhist pagoda, a stupa, where he enshrined hair of the Buddha. According to the tradition, this is Usunisha. So the first Buddhist temple, the first Buddhist pagoda was built not in the human world, not in the underworld. Where? In the heavenly world. Heavenly world of 33 heaven, God Indra built first Buddhist stupa, Buddhist pagoda, according to the tradition. So I think many of you visit. Where is it? Many of you visit Bangkok. Anybody went to Wat Arun? Wat Arun? Anybody there? Wat Arun? Wat Arun is one of the famous temple in Bangkok, and it was built according to the Indian, how can I say, Indian worldview. Indian worldview. And what I'd like to show you is this. This is Wat Arun, near the river Chao Phraya in Bangkok. And this structure actually show the heavenly world. So the middle part is Sumer mountain in the center of the universe. In the middle of the center of the universe, we have God Indra. So God Indra, where is it? God Indra, the Lord of 33 heaven. So actually, Wat Arun, this stupa, Khmer stupa, symbolize the 33 heaven where the Buddha, Buddha's hair become enshrined, and they built a Buddhist temple. So here I show you here. Let's see. No, this one, not this one. This is Buddha's cutting hair, and Borobudur style, and this is a Korean style. And the Indra, God Indra, going up to the 33 heaven, he built this stupa. This stupa was called the Chulamani stupa. Chula is hair, mani is gem. Hair gem stupa, hair gem, Chulamani stupa in the heavenly world, according to the certain tradition. You can actually see this Chulamani stupa, this one. So usually in the Thai temple, in the middle of the temple, you have a Buddha statue. But this Wat Arun, just the one shrine, instead of a Buddha statue, they have a stupa. So this stupa, Chulamani stupa, because this is a realm of 33 heaven, where you can see here God Indra is controlling everything. So this is Chulamani stupa according to the southern Buddhist tradition. So at this very moment, the first Buddhist stupa was built. The first Buddhist stupa was built. So this is one of the most important moment of Buddhism, as far as I understand. This is one of the topic I usually talking about. And then, the Buddha become wandering ascetic, and he did the asceticism, Hershey asceticism, together with the 5 group of companion. And 5 of them was called the Panchapakhiya Bhikkhu, group of 5 monks. They all together did asceticism. According to the early Buddhist text, Buddha eat just 1 grain a day. So literally, he was almost dying. He was almost dying. So my student sometimes asked me, why Buddha was alone, almost dying, and all the other people looks okay? Anybody guess? I usually said to them that the Buddha actually eat just 1 grain a day, and another pipe eat something when other people, when nobody saw, and they eat something, so they look very healthy. So when Buddha was almost dying, nice lady appeared in front of the Buddha, and this lady was called Sujata. Sujata appeared, and Sujata offering food. And the Buddha thought, life is suffering, and I'm almost dying with my asceticism, but I haven't achieved any truth. I haven't realized anything, but I'm almost dying. So the Buddha thought, either dying, something like that, or I can recharge in my body and have another try. So the Buddha choose the next one, the second option, recharging my body and have another go, have another chance. So the Buddha accepted the food from Sujata. So this is quite the moment. It's a kind of a life-changing experience of a Buddha's ascetic life. 6 years he tried asceticism together with a group of 5 monks. He couldn't do it. He couldn't achieve it. And then he gave up asceticism and he accepted food. So many scholars usually said this was the moment when the Buddha chose life rather than death, because during that time, become a religious leader means dying. So Jainism, through dying, they become the Jina, they become the holy person. But the Buddha gave up, So all the Panchabhagya Bhikkhu, said something to the Buddha. You are the one who, who couldn't follow asceticism. So they made a joke and they said bye-bye to the Buddha and they all disappear. And the Buddha become alone. So this is Sujata. And according to the tradition, Southern Buddhist tradition, Sujata was the nice lady, daughter of a very big, and rich family. She is a tree worshipper. So this is a tree she usually offering the food. And she was about the age to get married. She prepared her food very, nicely. According to the tradition, Sujata's family had got 1,000 cows. So from the 1,000 cows, she was milking the milk, and she cook it. I think I should show you this. So this is Sujata's home. She actually have a milk from 1,000 cows, and she just extracted. So and then give milk to the 500 cows, and then extract it, and then give it to the 200, 150, and finally just one. So this small food she just prepare has got ingredient of 1,000 cows. So it's a kind of condensed, really nice, how can I say, milk porridge. If you go to India, you can eat milk porridge, rice cooked with the milk and some sweet. So when Sujata almost finished it, God Indra appeared, and God Indra put some heavenly ingredient so that Buddha can recover from his, 6 years asceticism. And then she bring the food to the tree where she'd like to offer. And then in front of the tree, she saw the Buddha. So she thought the Buddha was a tree spirit. So naturally, she just offered. Oh, today my tree is showing its human form. So she didn't know the Buddha, who did asceticism. She just thought this is a tree spirit and offered the food, and Buddha accepted. So the Buddha actually choose the life at this very moment. But at this very moment, Buddhism didn't have a tradition of bringing the bata, the plate. It's totally nothing they can have. For example, Jains, you remember Digambara? They do not have a bata, a bowl. So they just eat food through their hands and just eat it. So the Buddha threw away his golden plate into the river. And in the river, there was, Serpent King suddenly appeared and took the plate and going down under the world and build the second stupa with the plate through which Buddha eat the food from Sujata. So this is the second Buddhist stupa built not in the human world, not in the heavenly world, but in the underworld, the world of Nagas, the world of Nagas. So I just show you last one. Where is it? This is a liver neranjara. I just took it. I bring my drone when I went to India. So this is River Neranjara near Bodh Gaya, and you can see here that mountain. That's the place where the Buddha did asceticism. So he met Sujata somewhere near here, and he just threw away his golden plate into this river, not this one. Sorry. Into this river, and the serpent king of this river took it. This one. So this is the river Neranjara. I think this is the place of Sujata's village, and this is the place where the Buddha did the asceticism, Hoshi asceticism, according to the tradition. And maybe somewhere here, the Buddha just threw away, and the Buddha reaching, almost reaching, where is it? This one? Not this one. This one. Where is Bodh Gaya? Sorry, I think this one. This one. I will show you maybe next time. And then he finally reached the place where he become awakened. That's the place called I found this one. This one. I was just flying high. and here is a river Neranjara, and this is the Bodh Gaya. As you can see here, we have a Mahabodhi stupa built around the 4th and 5th or 6th century AD. So this is the place where the Buddha become enlightened, near the bank of river Neranjara. So that's the place. Nowadays we have a huge city in the Bodh Gaya, and this is a holy place of the Buddhism. And I couldn't come close more because there are many soldiers and police. I just stop here, and you can see here Mujjarinda Bank and all the trees and everything here. And the tree might be behind this great Mahabodhi temple here. I think this one seems to be, this is the place where Buddha become awakened, place of awakening. I think is this one near the riverbank. So today I just stop here. So next week I will talk about the enlightenment of the Buddha, awakening of the Buddha, and the story after what was happening there. So thank you very much. And if you have any question, you can ask me through email, or put the question in our what was it? E-class question and answer section. Okay, thank you. Bye bye.